What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast. We talk the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, as people of color have made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shan Tynes,
What's up? What's up?
Daniel Acevedo,
How's it going, guys?
and special guest from Cyber Coffee Hour, where he co-hosts with Dr. Joseph Burt Miller. We have Alfredo Nash.
Hello, coffee makers.
There it is. So definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. So again, Monday and Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursdays Ask a CISSP when I have one, and then Fridays everything else, movies, books, games, all that cool stuff. But without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this article comes from house.mn.gov. So it's a Minnesota government site. And the title of this is written by Mike Cook. And the title of this one is Local Governments Seek Funds for Cybersecurity Amid Rising Threats. Thank you, right? Like we talk about this all the time about how these smaller local governments, they're targets, right? They're soft targets because they don't have the money to invest. And that's kind of what they're going into here is they have a local congresswoman, right? She's trying to find her name, Representative Kristen Bonner, Bahner, and she's saying it costs a lot of taxpayer money when breaches occur, right? And this is what we talk about is like the money it costs to get back to normal again, right? Or get back to secure. They're saying the state of Minnesota doesn't have a lot of money to spend on that, right? So we need to invest some money into this, and they're asking the federal government really, and what they're trying to get to is like $20 million, right? And so they're trying to set up something to where they can ask for the grant money, and they're not just saying give us the money and let us do whatever. They're like, okay, give us the money, but these are the things we're going to do to make sure it's being spent the way it should be, right? But this is something I like to see, right? Because we talked about it. The hospitals are soft targets. Local governments are soft targets, right? School districts are soft targets. We talk about this all the time. So it's good that somebody is trying to get ahead of the game, but bureaucracy moves a little slow, right? So who knows how long it'll take before this actually comes to fruition with this bill going through with them asking for the money. But Alfredo, what's your thoughts on this, man?
So same deal. I'm right there with you, Shannon. The cost comes from the interdependent systems. You got to back them up. You got to take a backup and test the DR site. You got to filter emails, storage values between municipal sites, school districts, the same soft targets. And then you also got to do disclosures of breach, which can cost taxpayer money to the representative's point. How do I disclose the breach or not disclose it and hire a lawyer to do the disclosure? So I just came from Cyber Law Con, so I'm fuel on that, is that you actually have to hire someone to keep the breach locked down and the IT system from exposing too much information about the compromise. So a lot of that costs money. And then do we buy firewalls for each of these different segments and soft targets, right? So it's very hard to say where you're on the political side, how much do I ask for? What's the litigation cost? So proposing that to a state local agency, a tribunal agency, a school district lead, which is the hardest part of it, right? We have managed service providers for these. None of them are cheap. They're expensive. So in a lot of times when the service provider gets popped too in these breach, you have to go back and ask for funding or remediation tasks, right? You have to ask the service provider, cybersecurity professional, hey, where was the spend on this post breach? And then you have to hire a lawyer to say, well, was it covered in cybersecurity insurance? Not, we're still catching up to that too. Government is still catching up to, do I include these same systems that were ransomware compromised in the budget and expenditure? I think she says it somewhere in here. The cybersecurity infrastructure and then the ground zero IT infrastructure that we all know are two separate spends. Some people have a backup disaster recovery solution. Some people have a firewall and what I'm thinking, cloud posture management tool that's included in the spend. So yeah, it's good to see it, but there's a large expense that I kind of empathize with the representative having to do it at the state level for everyone she has to represent, right? Every system and soft target she has to represent for.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's getting a little difficult now. I don't know what the actual answer is going to be moving forward, right? When we implement, at the local level, state level for government institutions, do we have an AI guy now and a cyber guy along with an IT person?
Oh, man,
it might be coming to that. That's the thing. Yeah. I think these are like almost requirements, just like you would have like teachers for education, or you have an HR person. I think maybe double triple hatting this thing, or getting somebody on the side to do 10-hour maintenance a week or a month. I think we're long past that already. And we're seeing the effects, second and third effects, long after year. Technology and how the bad actors are infiltrating these systems are getting faster and easier, right? And I think the government, since it can move fast when it wants to. We've learned that this year. But for these kind of things, it's moving too slow where it's not flexible enough to make the changes it needs to catch up to what the opposition is doing, right? And we're seeing the effects of that. And as these bad actors start targeting hospitals and schools more, it's going to be more troublesome for the everyday person, and it's going to cost the taxpayers more because it's going to come out of our pockets one way or the other, right? This is just my thoughts on this one off the top of the head, but we can go super deep on this because it's a very important topic.
No, I think, and I sometimes I feel like we're beating a dead horse because we do talk about uh, federal funding anyway, on at least an annual basis, if not more frequently. So back in what is this, 2019? I believe is when this bill. No, I'm sorry, 2021. So it's when the 1.9 billion dollar cyber funding infrastructure bill went through. Half of which would go to state and local governments, right? So that was back in 2021, and then fast forward just 1 year. Now we're talking about the U.S. House of Appropriates okayed a 15.6 billion dollar spend bill.
Wow.
The majority of which was going to federal funding, right? 11.2% just the Department of Defense alone, and then another 2.9 billion would be set aside for infrastructure, dams and power grids and things of that nature. So we talk about it a lot on here because of the soft targets. Like just in my backyard, Oldsmar was hit back when I was still active duty. They tried to poison the water supply via remote desktop, right? So it was just like somebody slipped in through paint.
But they were running Windows 7 too, right? If I remember
Yeah, they're
correctly.
running. Yeah, they're
So like
in
they
the
were
life
way
back then.
behind.
Even
Yeah.
The expenditure and cost to roll that system up to 10 or beyond, or even pre-Vista,
exactly.
right? That's
Yeah.
the other thing I dialed in with you on, Ryan, is coming from the private side, right? You got to remember, and the rep says this, some of these state and local agencies aren't Fortune 500, and they don't have the
Yeah.
guaranteed budget that federal representation has, because they're spreading that out, right? They're spreading out, of course, government agencies to close doors, gaps in sectors, and some of it doesn't make it down to the client in their agency. Then you come out of federal, state, local, I think state, local, territory, and tribunal. They're like startups. They're literally whittling down that same funding to this district needs it the most, right? Or this, like, so think, like, to take our backyard, Baltimore, 2019, same situation. They got hit and they're still resolving some of the issues because it hasn't been disclosed. It hasn't been disclosed which systems were hit. It's still being investigated how they're going to rebuild and mitigate, right? So, it's not like they're I don't want to say they're shortchanged. I would say it's a staffing issue because there's a talent pool hired. You got to hire folks as well.
Yep.
You got to hire the competent individuals. And then you got to read out to leadership that says, well, we didn't do this last year. Now we have to onboard this cost. Some folks push back on it. They're like, well, we got hit with a ransomware 5 years ago. We don't want to get hit again. What was the spend? And hire the lawyers now.
right, which it's weird, right? There's this juxtaposition of like I'm glad that they are looking into it and they want to hire, but then it's the exhaustion of just like everyone else, they don't know who to hire and how much to pay for the people they're trying to hire. So it's a chicken and egg situation. So we talked about in the past how Rochester, I'm from Buffalo, right? So I have family in Rochester. So Rochester, New York, set up clinics through RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology, where basically they would, support local business and as well as some local and state agencies that will give you free cyber because these people are trying to get their foot in the door, right? So it's that's them trying to catch up the chicken and egg, right? We will give you resources and then this will be OJT for them, and then this will hopefully get their foot in the door and get you spun up so you're better defended, said hospital or what have you. So there is work being done, and I do like to see that grassroots effort. It's just like you said, it's very hard. Like we call it, at least back during the Reagan years, the trickle down economy. It's not trickling down all the way, right? It's not getting to the ground floor. So now they have to request money, and then their request will probably go up, like you said, through the local government up to the federal. But when that money falls back down, will it actually make it down to them? Because 20 million is not a lot to spend when the government is spending $15.6 billion, but how is that money being allocated? So it's rough.
That's a good point too. Really quick, I don't want to hold us up too much, but that's a good point too, because if you look at the tea leaves, right? There's a gentleman, I hope to catch up with him in real life, named Harry Coker, right? He resigned, and then he came down to the state level of the Department of Commerce. But prior to his resignation, he did the same thing. He said, "Oh, yeah, the community colleges in our state they can get 2 years free OJT, a workforce enablement grant, I think it's called." And yeah, you can go to the community colleges for free so you can backfill the workforce. So I think that just so if you're not a university, cool. You come down to the community level, yeah, 100%. That's what we need because that small group of folks now can go work in the same state they're from, right? They don't have to go to another state and move their families and things like that. The other side of the fence is that guaranteed 2 years of workforce training is giving you experience to do the job. That's the part that really runs home, and it should be included in the state budgets and legislation more widely, we hope. But that gentleman, shout out to the Honorable Harry Coker, is now in Maryland, and he's in the I think he's in the Department of Commerce. So there it is. It links up to say, well, we have to have the right minds look at dialing in the spend from federal to state, and then finding the workforce in their backyard. To your point, Ryan, like there's hundreds and thousands of openings, but there's equally as much people willing to get into cyber if they needed to, and if they had the opportunity to help their state out. And I think there's a civil defense effort too, but we could take that on another show. But they also are enabled to defend it in cyber from their classrooms now. It's getting to to your point, it's getting to such a local level that they learn how to defend real environments in class, which will be really
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely have to look more into that because I didn't know that he moved down. It's good to see he's still involved because I have seen some of the work he's done in the past, but he kind of faded away from the limelight. So it's good to see. Like we need more people to because when I got to wrap it up too. I only got a minute left. But even in the military, you would see people like they would hit a certain level and then obviously they would retire or whatever because there was no like they hit a ceiling. But it was good to always see them come back and still support the troops in some manner, right? Whether it have been through as a civilian in the agency or they crossed over to the civilian side and they were helping people to gain jobs during a transition. So it's good to see when people do that, right? They're not necessarily they're no longer in the spotlight, but they're still providing a service that's duly needed at a lower tier, right? They're able to bring that spotlight down to the ground level. So that's awesome. But definitely continue to tune in to us Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Our normal segments. So Monday is Monday and Tuesday topics. There we go. Wednesday discussion. Thursdays Ask CISSP, and then Fridays everything else, movies, books, games, all that cool stuff. We'll have Alfredo Nash here all week long. And where can they find your content?
So the first stop is YouTube. If you go to our YouTube page, I'll give you the links, Ryan. You can go to our About page. You'll find all of our socials, Discord, Blue Sky, Buy Me a Coffee. And then most importantly, where we started is LinkedIn. So you go to our LinkedIn, hit me and Dr. Joseph up, and we'll cascade it out from there.
Absolutely. And where can they find you, Daniel?
On LinkedIn under my name, Daniel Acevedo.
There it is. I keep having to pause because I keep wanting to say, where can they find you, Shannon? They can't.
I know. He's got better OPSEC than all of us.
They cannot find Shannon, right?
Stealth mode.
His human incognito mode over here. Yeah. But you can find me pretty much on every platform under RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy. But I'm most active on LinkedIn. And you can hit us up at the other side of the firewall, the other side of the FW, or Ask a CISSP, or our parent company, which I happen to be the CEO of, RAM Cyber. That's ramcyber.io. If you're looking for any cyber defense work, policy, governance, all that cool stuff. And then, check us out for the rest of the week. Stay safe. Stay secure.